That December, Parliament had just repealed Section 2A of the Constitution, walikuwa wameifuta, revoked it. And the effect of that was that Kenya had been restored back to a multi-party democracy. Because before that December, Kenya was legally a one-party state. The only way to practice politics was to join KANU. You could not form your own political party. So going into the Christmas of 1991, Kenyans were delighted. Kenyans were very happy. Kenyans indeed that year had a very Merry Christmas. Then during that holiday period, drama. Just after Christmas, Mwai Kibaki called a press conference in Mombasa. Now, retired President Mwai Kibaki always used to spend his holidays in Mombasa. All top government officials always used to spend their holidays in Mombasa. And so Mwai Kibaki calls a press conference. Now, even the press, the journalists had to scramble around to get their numbers because even the journalists are on their Christmas, So they get all these reporters inside this press conference because Mwai Kibaki has a very big announcement to make. And indeed, it's a big one. And in that press conference, Mwai Kibaki announces the formation of a new political party to be called Democratic Party of Kenya. Now, to political analysts at that time, that was normal. To the people in newsrooms, the news editors, that was normal. After all, the country had repealed Section 2 of the Constitution at that time, allowing Kenya to be a multi-party democracy. And therefore, in a multi-party democracy, we need political parties. So this was just one of the formations of the many political parties that are going to be formed, in the coming days, weeks, and months. Admittedly, this was a big one because Mwai Kibaki was a former vice president and a national politician. But to political analysts at that time, Mwai Kibaki was not really a serious political factor. There were other people like Kenneth Njindo Stanley Matiba, very popular politician from Murang'a. But as a result of that press conference, some very drastic things suddenly happened, in quick succession. The news editor of KTN at that time, Rose Lukalo, was fired. Why? Because heads had to roll, and she had aired that press conference live. It was breaking news, and it was aired on KTN live, so that every Kenyan knew that there was now a new political outfit in the country called Democratic Party of Kenya, led by Mwai Kibaki. But that was not the big news. The big news was the intelligence chief in the country, the spy boss, if you will, was also fired. Now, we need a bit more background here. The intelligence chief at that time was a man called James Kanyotu. Legendary James Kanyotu, is now deceased. James Kanyotu took over as the country's intelligence chief in 1965, when he was only 26 years old. And what is more, he had survived the regime change from President Jomo Kenyatta to President Daniel Arap Moi, which had happened almost 15 years earlier. 15 years earlier than this 1991 very memorable December. Now, James Kanyotu was an extremely fascinating character. And I had even further inside information on this man because my political lecturer, knew him personally. Indeed, my political lecturer for many years was one of the very few people in Kenya who knew what James Kanyotu looked like. The man was a real spy chief. No newspaper, foreign or local, no news media house, foreign or local, had a photograph of James Kanyotu. Nobody knew what he looked like. They just knew the name and the title, the office he held. Even very senior government officials had no idea what James Kanyotu looked like. I kid you not. It was only in 1998, over 7 years after his retirement, or is it firing, that Kenyans had their first glimpse of what James Kanyotu looked like. He was forced by a court order to come and testify before a commission investigating the Goldenberg scam and a man called Kamlesh Patni. Yeah? And so for the first time ever, yeah, Kenyans got a glimpse of what their spy chief, their former spy chief, looked like. Anyway, James Kanyotu was fired during a telephone call, yeah, which has widely become available. The contents of that telephone conversation between him and the president has found its way into the media. Yeah, it's in public knowledge. And it went something like this. This is President Moi on the phone to James Kanyotu. So, of course, the president speaks first. Why didn't you tell me that Kibaki was forming a political party? So Kanyotu responds, sir, I was not aware. Now, you know, such an answer can never come from a spy chief, especially a spy chief in Kenya over such a major political development. It is said Moi responded something like, what do you mean you're not aware? Or are you not aware because of the fact that you come from the same community? Now, it is no secret that Moi was paranoid about the Kikuyu community. Yeah, that is not a secret. Everybody knows. But coming back to my point, the main reason Moi was livid was because this had caught him unawares. He had learnt about it at the same time other Kenyans had learnt about it in the media. Now in Kenya, that should never ever happen to a president who intends to stay in power. Yeah, and Moi was fully aware of that fact. And so that was the end of the long, illustrious career of James Kanyotu. He was later brought back as a consultant, yeah, to help the government, yeah, so that you know just how valuable this Kenyan was. He just knew too much. He just had too much history, secrets of the country to be ignored. Of course, the person who took over from James Kanyotu was Stephen Kivuvani. Yeah, and those who are worried about tribes and where somebody comes from, he hailed from the combination. And he held that office for a very brief period because that was a very stormy period, you know, the coming of multi-party and so on. But my point is, the Kenyan president is always 3, 4, 6 months, 1 year ahead of the rest of us.